Welcome back for another edition of Mondays with Michelle. Or something. I don't know if I'll keep that name. But hey, it works. So today my daughter went back to school. And this was a little different for us this year because not only did she go back to school, it's her first day of high school. And it's her first day of regular school after being at home and doing online school for 2 years. So I don't know who's more nervous, her or me. But went over, dropped her off. The school's kind of small, so I can drop her off right at the front door and she can go straight in the door. And there was, I don't remember which teacher the guy is. I know his name, and I know what his wife does, but I can't remember his name. But he's the husband of her homeroom teacher, and he was at the entrance welcoming the students in the door. And she saw him Friday night when we had our orientation night at the school. And that was kind of neat too, because a lot of times you go to orientation and the teacher stands there and, blabs, and you maybe go to another room and that teacher blabs. But they usually do that after school started, and they give you a little bit of, well, here's what your student's been up to. Well, this actually was before school starts, which is how I seem to remember things going on when I was younger. And she got all of her books except for 2 big textbooks. So they're like workbooks and things like that. And they even gave her a really nice agenda. It's about, normal sized, like a notebook sized, so she could keep track of things in it. So far so good. I flipped through the books and looked at what they had in them, and like one of the books in particular is vocabulary, where they're going to do spelling tests in English, I guess, which is kind of odd for 9th grade, but whatever. The words that were in that particular book were more competent words than she had had in a previous year word book. I think it was 7th grade. They gave her this notebook, well, not notebook, a workbook. And the words in it, a lot of them were things that not only had I never heard of, but some of the ones that I had heard of, you don't use that in everyday language. It was dumb. These ones in this new book, they're words that make sense, stuff that you would actually be using. So it wasn't like useless. Why am I learning this word? There's no use for it. No, they weren't like that. They were useful words. So I think that'll be nice. And the science books that she was given, those look pretty neat. And the, what was it? Cultural geography. So they had areas of the world, maps, where's this river supposed to go, that kind of thing. But then they also had little segments in those sections where they talked about the particular people who live in that area. So it wasn't just all maps and regurgitating of facts. There was some interesting parts that went along with it. So I'm hoping she enjoys those subjects. So as far as me, what have I been up to? My little holder dealies. I decided to add 1 extra circle disc. They didn't have any that were as thick as I like, so the package I bought was actually a 4-pack. So I glued them together. I don't know if you can even see the division on there. Right there. So I got the 2 discs glued together, and then I glued them to the stand and painted it. It just seemed like it needed, because the base isn't heavy, it seemed like it needed a little bit more stability. So I did that to both of them. And I did an order through JetPens. And I got that. Let me find it. I ordered... This one here is called the Pilot Twin Marker. These were on recommendation from Shannon Green. And I've marked this with washi tape because this marker works really well on washi tape. You have to let it dry for a few seconds before messing with it, or you're going to smear it. But once it was actually on there and sat, let me grab some washi tape. Let's snip this one off. This is more of a glossy tape, so we'll do an experiment while I'm talking. It writes really nice. A lot of them bead up. This one does not. So you can see how it didn't beat up. It's really nice print. So we'll let that sit for a few seconds so I don't accidentally smear it. But that was the fat end. Of course, this is all written in Japanese, so I can't tell you what it says. And then there's a tiny end. So this is the tiny tip. And then in comparison, the one I just wrote with is more like a felt tip. And it's oil-based. Smells good. Not that you should be sniffing your pens, but hey, for those of you who like pens that don't smell horrible, there you go. And then the next one I got for her recommendation was this. We don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to show it to you. P-I-S or ... S. And this is also a double-ended marker, so that one has a tiny end. And then the other end is also like a felt. So it has nice writing. This one doesn't smell, so I can't tell you what it is as far as ink. But I'll link you to Shannon Green's channel where she talked about these pens so you can see what she learned about them. This one is called the Pilot Drawing Pen, and she says you need to get the purple one. And I do believe this is the oil-based marker, if I remember what I wrote down. So it's just Pilot Drawing Pen, and this is purple. I don't know if it's showing blue on there or not, but I got the 5. And this is like a, oh, what are those called? I think, yeah, no, that's not it. I'm not sure what pen it's similar to. I can't think right. But anyway, nice little tip, if you can see that. Whoop. So it has a nice writing. This one doesn't smell either. Now all of these are supposed to not smear when wet. These are supposed to be good for your mixed media stuff. Next one I got was this interestingly packaged one, and we called this the question mark pen because it didn't have a English word on it anywhere that was understandable. And that was also a nice bullet felt type pen. So that'll be good for doodling on my stuff. And I think that is it. Yeah, that's all I got for pens. And the other thing I got from them was Moleskine. You know, this is my first Moleskine products. Or not Moleskine, I'm sorry. Midori. Thinking of something else. I got the Ruled Line Traveler Notebook. So it's the 2, I believe. And I got the Pocket, which is the 8. So I put them in my Fodori. I haven't put anything in the pocket yet, but there's the pocket. And I have that wrapped around the notebook at the moment. And I haven't started, oh look, I have it upside down. Not like it really matters, but let's fix that real quick because the fact that I know it's upside down now will bother me. There we go. And these are neat because they have a pocket here and a pocket here. This plastic feels really nice. So there's my other one that I had something going on in it, and I chopped all the color-coded edge off because I decided I wasn't going to use it that way anymore. I'm keeping track of some things and some headaches and stuff. Just because he's a man, he's not going to write it down. So I'm doing that. And then I did take my movie booklet out that was in here, and I redid that a little bit. This is my movie booklet. I need to get another band, I think, and then I can have all 4 back in here. But I had it where it was just this giant list of movies that I wanted to watch, and then I was marking them off as I went. And I decided that looked horrible, so I drew boxes to fill in. So here's all my movies. Then I have check marks next to ones I've seen. And then, like, I wrote it in one color, and then I have this orange over here for a little bit of a blurb, whether I thought it was good or, you know, just a small, I don't need to do a, oh look, there's money in here. Don't need to do a big old Siskel and Ebert type thing about it, but just enough to know whether I thought it was a good movie or not. And then I joined the Midori, I don't remember the name of it, I'm going to have to look at it. Fobonichi Fedori group on Facebook. I'll put a thing up somewhere on the screen that shows what I was doing. This is how I was journaling. Just, you know, jam something in there with a box. This was a busy day, apparently, where I actually wrote more than others. I don't journal every day. I don't really have a whole lot to say. But on the days I did, like this section here, this is 4 days worth of blurb. This was one day, this is one day. These were when we were out looking at housing. So, you know, change colors. These are my Coletto and my Staedtler pens. A little bit of Skippy here, a couple little stickers. I try to doodle on an edge. There's another doodle on an edge. Countdown. Stuck some, what are these, fortune cookie blurbs in here. Used a little washi tape. You know, it's nothing like anyone else's. It's just stuff. So I have a gap here because this is when I moved and I haven't written anything about it. And then we got here and I decided to start trying to do a doodle. Then I started trying to be a little bit more like the Fobonichi kind of look. So I thought, well, on the days that I'm going to actually journal, I will find a quote for that day and add it to the page. So this one here says, things start happening when you start believing. So I just scribbled that on there and then used my colors to kind of create a small rainbow effect. Then I've got my weather box and my food box, which I forgot to do the weather on this one. And then as you can see, I skipped a couple of days. And then in this flower here is the quote for this day. Sometimes the person who tries to keep everyone happy is the most lonely person. And I picked that quote because past few days I've just been feeling kind of blah. I don't know if it's necessarily the weather, although it just started raining today, so I don't think it's weather related. I have an idea what's going on, but you know, I'll get over it. So that's how that's working. Well, this is one of my favorite pens, by the way. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it. Uniball Signo, and it's the itty bitty .38. This writes super, I don't know how well you can see that. Super pointy. I like that, because then I can write really tiny stuff. It's really good for doing Zentangling and other doodles. I changed up my closure on my book here. I had a fish on the front and it just got to be a little too big and annoying. I don't know if I have it anywhere I can see it. Probably not. I'm going to stop looking. But it was on here. Kept getting, pull this off, the thing would get all twisted up. So I found another fishy at someplace and added it on here. Fish for my Pisces, right? He's a pretty cute little guy. He has a little jointed body. Let's see if he'll get him to cooperate. There we go. And then I like to take pictures, so I had this little camera that I got from someplace. It was pretty cute. And then someone was selling some charms in the art supply junkie thing, and I had this little paint palette in one of the charm packs, and I took my what are those things? Liquid pearls, and I added it to the little sections and turned it into a colored palette. I thought that turned out really cute. So I almost have Roy G. Biv. I wasn't able to put the indigo in, but I figured that covered all the main colors. So we got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and a violet. So that's kind of fun. And this was one of those Tim Holtz claspy things. I just stuck it through hell, I'm having a horrible time with words today. Where the elastics go through on the book. I just hooked it there. This is kind of like how the little metal thingy would be on a real fedora or Modori. So there's extra sections on there where I can add more fun things as I find stuff that makes sense to me. So that's that. Then we have some stuff I found while I was looking for some things. These are kind of fun. These are 7 Gypsies. It says display trim surveyor rulers. So pretty cute. I need to find something to use those for. It might be kind of neat to have them. It won't work on this, but I don't think it'll even work on this. But maybe as several of them as a cover. That might be kind of cool. I don't know what I'm doing with that. And then I ran across these that I had bought. And I think it would be fun. I already punched holes in them. Not all of them, but I did punch holes in all of them. These ones I did with 3, and these ones I did with the 2 to create some kind of a book. So I've got some there, maybe even 3 books worth. Don't know. So I can figure out maybe what I want to do with those. And then this guy here, I've decided what I'm doing with. Oh, let's look at this real quick because I just got distracted. So there's the word, and as you can see, I'm pushing on it pretty hard, and by pushing on it pretty hard, I was able to get it to ghost just ever so tiny. I don't even think you'll be able to see it, but it's still there. Slick washi tape, and the word is still there, and it didn't beat up when I used it. So get that pen. Anyway, I made this a while back. This has crumpled up packing paper on it, and I went across it with a distress pad to darken up the creases, and then I used some of the 7 Gypsies tape on here, and then I went across it with some Mod Podge, I believe. And those are my little signature strings, so I might add some fun things to that. I did the back as well. And then on the inside I used some of this weirdo paper I have. This was part of some layers. And it's really thin, like tissue paper, as you can see my hands through it. But it has an interesting little pattern kind of going on. I didn't like the bright red inside front flaps, so I just added some of that on here. And I'm going to come through later and add something across this part to pretty it up. I might get another piece of that washi tape. And I left the prongs because I think that would be nice to have as a place to add things. So this is just an assortment of random papers that I had around. We've got paper from one of those scrapbooks that you would buy and you just glue things into, the older style ones. Most people don't use these anymore. It's really like a kid craft construction paper. This is packing paper. This is a huge pack of drawing paper I found at a Goodwill that I've cut down into manageable pieces. So I got some of those going on in my file folder, and then it repeats. And there's room here to add more signatures. So I might do that. But this is going to be what I'm going to be using in our next hashtag event. And this one's going to be animal related. And I'm not going to tell you the hashtag for it yet because we have to wait. No disclosing the hashtag early because that's kind of not fun. We don't want people who aren't actually participating properly in the event to snatch up the hashtags and use them prematurely and kind of defeat the purpose of having it be an event. So look forward to that. That's going to be this weekend, I believe. What are the dates on that? Let me look. Oh my goodness. 21 through the 23rd, I believe. So I need to do some recording, obviously, because I haven't even started. Animals. I have mass quantities of Birds and Blooms and Birds and Blooms extra magazines because I just love the pictures of the birds and the flowers and all the fun information that's in here. And I probably have at least 100 of these things that I've been dragging around for several years. This one, for instance, is from 2002, if that tells you anything. But I finally decided what I wanted to do with them. To get rid of them, because it's really dumb to carry books around for your whole entire life and never use them. So I've ripped out and collected several images. Here's one of them that I was fussy cutting last night while watching television. So my little project is going to be using these in this book. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what happens with that. Should be pretty fun. And I'm not sure what else I've been doing really other than watching other people's videos, trying to become inspired. Just, you know, that blah thing I mentioned earlier kind of messes with your mojo. Oh, I went shopping the other day. When I bought those discs, I picked up one of the Tim Holtz dies. And I used it with this foam. Let me move this over. I cut out the cover to the die. And that seems to have disappeared on me. Oh, good grief. Let me have some of this coffee here. Alright. Cut out. It's the stacked cups one they have. So you get the little plate. And then you get this shaped teacup. And this shaped teacup. And then a little tea bag shape. So you can take that and some string and, you know, add to your teacup and make it look extra cute. And I cut it out in foam just for fun. So I thought maybe I could use it to make a stamp. So if I glue this to some cardboard, then I might be able to stamp some cup shapes. That might be kind of fun. And then of course, since I already had the cutter out, I used it and cut up a bunch of pieces of paper too to use in project. And then I figured while I had the cutter out, or the Big Shot I mean, I dug out my Tim Holtz bottles. Because I did actually get an idea for doing that. I think it's Rach 003's page. She was doing this picture where she had some bottles across the bottom and then she had put flowers out the top. I'll try to remember to link it. But I thought that was pretty cute. You know, I don't necessarily want to do the flower part. But I did have this Tim Holtz die with all these bottle shapes. I got different colors there. I thought it might be neat to have a little, maybe a collection of bottles on a page with some of the stoppers in it or something. So we'll see where I go with that. I've got this kind of textured colored paper. It's got a kind of a patterny thing because of the type of paper that was used. Maybe I can mix and match the two colors to create something. And I think that's it for this Monday's edition of me blabbing. So stay tuned to later this week for my animal project. And hopefully I can get another carousel card put together. I might do the bottle thing on a carousel card. That might work. We shall see. I have a couple of ideas I want to do. I just haven't gotten around to doing it because I just haven't felt like it. So I think we all have days like that. Alright, we will talk at you later. Hope you have a great week, and see you later. Bye.